Hello, dear Judge Napolitano on Fox News. New Britain, NBC, Connecticut fabricated some stories with the same title with Wethersfield Police Department, and they showed different footage. And they took clips of things I said out of context on Facebook, and they pretended I emailed them. And they made up email conversations to keep out of the conversation how I called the school. And I received a whole bunch of different phone messages with others, with confessions, and with the principal child defender school campus. Before that was proven, they have the new principal with family members that were close to her father, or someone with her name that is also involved with the individuals further involved with predicate acts on the campus. And they're pretending they're stupid, and everyone's speaking through other people. My town's police chief, in 1 years ago, is involved with a house that has a Cololo family living in it. And before they moved in, those people, the woman that was there, and a house is up the street tied to her, a woman with the name Lewis. I don't think they're there anymore. And there's an O'Brien family. A whole bunch of people tied to them with fact-cheating nature, sequence shifts. Investigations and investigators used to hide their lie progressions and preemptively, per their roles with predicate acts with databases, confessing to me and demonstrating when I was a kid their roles as strangers, seeking me out to plan and time how they could confess and record, how they are differentially, constantly, criminally foreign influenced and pretending other. I was capable of discerning that and can show everybody, because I was aware of how there was a breaching method sustained against the Native Americans. Then you could discern the fake passions and emotions about people with black and white, for example, because they also have recorded remote uses of black families, which there are hardly any in Wethersfield. Every single one of them, they have recorded remote uses of them involved with the inter-branch predicate acts also on the campuses and private databases simultaneously, attaching me to fake conversations with themselves and with their family members. They have a whole bunch of doctors in a medical family, doctors in a Leahy family, as one of the ones involved with my town's police chief's daughter and her husband and their police chief, and through time also with the corners of, since before they moved in there, Mazzucato, with the corner of Elm Street and Route 3. That corner was involved with the Cololos and with the Oliveri family with predicate acts, actually recorded on my campuses with identity thefts and frauds instances, with people on all sides of a whole bunch of ways associated with the state judicial branch offices and off the state judicial branch offices, involved with offensive evidence reception racketeering and timed instances creation, even preemptively, as people involved with predicate acts with them off Trinity College, switching names, forging names, pretend passions, emotions, and backgrounds, and they're spreading things, and they're replacing what's actually recorded audio and video relative to Facebook, differences in positive and negative treatments and identity treatments, and relative to their roles with uses of that, the stewards of the Facebook pages of Trinity College, Central Connecticut State University, and Wethersfield campuses, personally criminally involved, and for their roles with the remote uses of the sciences, individually grouped together. Also, all these ways tied to the Wethersfield police chief's family, and 1 year ago, and people involved with the same house, involved with predicate acts with them. They called me about 5 months ago with an officer, a male, who said his name was Sullivan. I called back. They're playing games, switching names, forging names, bringing more names into it. They also have Sullivans with a place on Park Street that switched names with a Maggie to trick us to go there, with people that are also involved. That's in Park Street in Hartford. That's for people intercities involved also on off CCSU with predicate acts with various police forms, overt criminal enterprises, excuse me, people on the child offender registry and fire departments, and people who answer the phones for the police, and for the news media that are involved with personally with their family members, further involved with child offenders, with their patients and criminals too, and with untimely deaths and their roles with drugs crimes, the people that are putting people in jail for such. They're also been making things up because no one's watching those databases. They've been spreading lies about people everywhere they go. They've been using, these are people tied to a Joshua Trinity, people from Trinity College and other students confessed and recorded, demonstrated. A Joshua Stryker is one of the ones involved with courts, judges, and FBI, with off-campus involved, on-campus relevant predicate acts, identity thefts and frauds. I never had a word of conversation with him in my life. I was around him one time outside. They had a dog unleashed, and it was like, I didn't want, it went like right from my private parts. Not violently, but I was like, didn't want anything to happen. This person, and they were planting things, and then they had made all these confessions about UPS, things like that, and my neighbors, and their roles with them. And those are also themselves recorded, confessed, and demonstrated a whole bunch of ways. Roles with the businesses and buildings next to the state capitol, involved with them with identity thefts and frauds. Also as the people that are the names and family members involved with predicate acts with this NBC Connecticut News. And with WFSB on and off this campus, with people that were in classes with me, involved with everyone speaking through others, fabricating audio and video. Now they're teachers of the courses. Now they're with their kids. They're extortioning me. I've been asking for years for a response. These are the people in the background everywhere I go. Someone's making confessions tied to them. Then they can't go back and be honest about those situations. These are people involved with remote uses of body dumping spots. They brought up. These are people that are recorded pretending they want the doors secured more because they're locking people out of communications because they're pretending it's the fake words. With the police further involved with the child campuses in Wethersfield and intercities. They put fake restraining orders against me, spoken lies through the news media. This is worse than extortion, slander, identity thefts, frauds. People pretending to be against such each day, pretending they couldn't fathom such. You know such. Fix the fake words you attached me to, WFSB. Fix the fake emails you pretended I sent. And respond to the one I did send you. And they also they take clips out of what people said on Facebook. They also took away Facebook pages because of what is actually recorded on Facebook. You're going to see the little sick fakes you have interbranch use puppets remotely. Worse, in the other countries, the same thing here or there. There's no difference. All difference is something that our founders and the Native Americans made, not them. These are some fakes with the counters. Just because they go to war doesn't mean anything. These people tied to this Dillon family. These are some real sick fake punks. Forging names, switching names, roles with all kinds of things, child abuses of all kinds of natures, elderly abuses, the military police, black and white ones together in collusion. You're going to watch the sick, fake punks you have speaking in the news media every day. But it's racism. You can't tell American history if you're pretending that you don't discern how all that racism was forced by the breaching method that was here before our founding parents. You're stealing you're valuing their identities, the stolen in our faces, overtly / insidiously. Then you're pretending it's personal when we try to respond. Fix the fake words you attach me to, the fake emails and tell me the name in sequence without them switching it this time, people. And I forgot I was speaking to you. I was speaking, to everyone. I was not you. I forgot I was speaking to you, Your Honor. Please have them follow mandated law. They pretended they didn't understand me with the communication. They sought me out. They sought me out. All exceptions and exception nature are in demonstration of the same thing. These are courts that are involved with remote uses of business transactions, real estate companies, their kids, like a Chris Cullen, recorded involved with remote uses of locations too. And I never had anything to do with Chris Cullen. He sought me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm other with the judges and with their family members criminally involved with predicate acts on my street with the Wethersfield Police Department, forging names, switching names. I sent them an email that made sense. They replace it. Then they pretend that they want me to write more and more. They're delaying while they stack more names to rolls, forging and switching names. They have intercities rolls with police departments, other police departments. They switch officers' names rolls. Then there's two completely different arresting officers that weren't even present. And they're making all kinds of exceptions. Oh, well, it was a mistake. They did a promise to appear given to my mother with an East Hartford officer, Magnanos, who was involved with others with predicate acts on off Central Connecticut State University, fabricating audio and video because no one's watching what's actually fabricated, what's actually recorded on campuses where they're filming 24/7. Now there were a whole bunch of judges and their family members also, like associated with the Delafair family and others. There's like a pattern of locations next to Hartford Hospital and its conjunction to Franklin Avenue, and and how the streets work with Hartford, and how the north end of Hartford is separated. Mather Street is associated with Fred Grisey, also recorded with as what is involved with the child abuses with Mather Street. Intercities with my town's police chief involved with drugs and medicines crimes with foreign and domestic military on off Central Connecticut State University, involved with them with other natures of predicate acts and remote uses of databases and identity thefts and frauds instances rolls, falsified police report rolls. This is leading up to the World Trade Center attack. In that context, we have Saudis that will demonstrate this is true. We have Kuwaiti people that will demonstrate this is true. We have deans that will demonstrate this is true. We have their family members that will demonstrate this too is true. We have the courts, judges, and prosecutors, if you follow mandated law, that will demonstrate this is true too. They had roles with predicate acts of them on and off campuses. On campuses too, where they're pretending people were on campus together, next to each other. All kinds of exceptions. They're also consciously creating exceptions with all locations as the people involved with overt criminal enterprises and private ones, overtly criminally foreign influenced, and simultaneously insidiously, and delusions wrought. So we have to get someone to respond on paper. They're pretending they have been doing such, but they've been fabricating police reports, forging and switching names. They've been making things up. Their sources have been doing so with them. They've been wire crime methods through time. They attached me to fake quotation with one of the police brothers with the name Mendez, who are on off the news media locations, also recorded uses. Roles with remote uses of the sensibilities of the news media, clear as day, criminally foreign influenced, and pretending they're not news because they're themes and such like that. It's all the same networks. You guys are preventing mandated law offensively, pretending other, using little tricks like pretending to be about Me Too, pretending to be against Me Too. The whole time preventing mandated law. But doing what you guys are supposed to be mandated to be against, and you guys are roles with all the court's mistakes they're making. They've been using courts sicker than guns and knives. They've been used to hide the life progressions. They're criminally foreign influence premises treatments, positive and negative treatments, identity treatments regarding what really causes negative value nature progressions, acts, natures in Hartford, on and off the campuses, including the private and the public schools. They are connected by this. There are a whole bunch of people. There's a Fred Grisey and a whole bunch of other people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They made all these confessions about a modern pastry and about their abuses of the boys and girls in that family. And those are people saying they want privacy now. I don't know them. These are people being forced into conversations by their roles with the police chief and with his family that makes little instances, and they made fake instances. Joshua Julian also involved, because these are people, when I was in that same grammar school, involved with what I caught Joshua Julian doing with people associated with the forensics locations and the predicate acts with the same house with him. /S. Online too, an on-off Facebook page of the Principal Child Defenders Campus as roles then and now, as roles also then for after that, as collusion with that, the NBC, WFSB, and others used to hide their live progressions and roles with such. Now, they also had the coaches of those people. He confessed and recorded with others that the coach of the wrestling team and other teams that I never had conversations with personally, they told lies to those people because they're involved with the intelligence community that's been involved with our regular police forms, has roles with them with the falsified police reports and with the predicate acts, wire crime methods, and child abuse roles. Methods pretending other like they're investigating or testing things and stuff like that. They have lawyers involved originally and still too. That is what our founders, those are things our founders wanted us to examine and demonstrate about how the lawyers are fake sides of correlation nature. Those are outcomes where both sides were sick, fake punks. You cannot speak for black and white until you speak for the breaching method. You can pretend other, do it on paper. You want to put theory, that's what's really recorded. You want to put theory, people, because you need people to be fighting using theory, using what other people told them dishonestly, then defending that worse and worse and worse. Follow mandated law. Who's the punk in the background with the interbranch forging and switching names, preventing writing since I was a kid? Tied to the same campus. Because then when I was in middle school, real quick instances, people made confessions, demonstrated, recorded, they had their live progressions. You know, then they pretend to know you. What's actually recorded are people walked up to me in life, and there's conjunction between that. And it was also relevant because of their roles with Washington World Trade Center and Washington, D.C., and with the policing of the campuses, of the online, Facebook, YouTube, and per their uses of the assaults against YouTube and Facebook with mean people. See, but there, for example, then we have to describe it by describing people as mean, etc., without making the actual instances and the sequence true proper. And this is also for how they're inter-platforms. See, they have the sense and sensibilities of everybody maintained, self-cultivated, but maintained by a breaching method. Responses that can't defend themselves and us from what exploits that as a abridged quality of fact-cheaping nature /S. So they pretend I can't speak clearly because these are people also roles since I was a kid, pretending such from behind my back, and roles telling on me and others, in other words, with fake things. So stacking fake audio and video into databases on campuses, privately, and with the news media, and with people with the locations next to the news media, and with people all along Route 3, and with shopping centers, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, confirmed, also involved. There's an officer, Jerry Miller, who's one of the ones recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, confirmed, involved with the police forms and names like a Kerr family. He recorded and confessed and recorded and demonstrated that himself and others are involved with New Britain Superior Court and with houses next to me, involved with predicate acts with him, and federal crimes with evidence reception, racketeering, and their roles with the falsified police reports that in the NBC, fabricating fake emails and taking clips and even changing the words in those clips from Facebook and then pretending I said those things like that. Now, these are also people associated with answering the phones for the Wethersfield Police Department through time, and people associated with them involved with the rape threats and aggressions towards me as strangers, also through time on off the Wethersfield town offices and with Hartford Hospital, where they forced me for a mental evaluation 3 times. Involved also with where they forced me into prison for 6 months, because all these things intercities were tied, and they all have ties to the people in the names with the grammar school, in the background playing the punk games with the NBC and the WFSB and the Fox Connecticut News. Also confirmed and demonstrated, recorded roles with uses of the park they play softball at. Also involved with identity thefts and frauds. Whole bunch of people with direct and indirect ties to Central Connecticut State University and Trinity College, relevant predicate acts and identity thefts and frauds incidences. Now, they also have roles with the military a whole bunch of ways. Originally still criminally foreign influenced. People at the 3 spots at the end of the Berlin Turnpike, a whole bunch of ways. Part of what tied them to seeking me out in the past, which is also relevant because these are the people that I know are involved with the names in the background, with playing these games with the news media, lying right through administrations too. No, with people associated with the elections locations. Respond for the Wethersfield police chief in paper now for the forging names, switching names, and with the judges and prosecutors and the state's attorneys. That's part of it too. Get them onto paper now, and with the doctors. Make sure you get the Leahy family. Make sure you get a restraining order. They say sorry to the Wethersfield parents about using my name and involving themselves with threats and confessions to me. Also, the confessions as forms of threats, because I never had communications with them. They went out of their way to pretend other and hold detailed fake conversations. You're going to see 3 times they did this. 2 times after that, other doctors associated with them did the same thing. They prevented me a means to a lawyer. They had lawyers that are fake in collusion with them. Criminally foreign influence, delusions, raw and sickly natured. See criminal insidiousness nature. That's not personal. That's relevant to the predicate acts and the wrongdoing and the sequence shifts and the uses of little boys and girls in classes that were in my classes and ones that weren't even in my classes, with these fake words with each other and with others. That's how they're using the sensibilities of everyone. They're forcing everyone to respect sick fake punks that are even with the name Darth Vader. Pretend because they can't identify themselves as police officers because they are too sick fake as actually recorded. So you're going to get them onto paper for the Wethersfield campuses now, and for the Wethersfield interbranch intercities, because those courts are also, they know what I caught them with the locations and with all the confessions of the military and the people that work for them. You know, you're going to watch.